Kielder 40 for Rateable Crest Titans.
Welcome to the SeaconUK Rally Show here on Special Stage, where we have a real mix of action for you, as you've come to expect. We kick off with circuit rally action with the Lucas Oil's Menai Circuit Rally from Anglesey. And then we go over for action from the Kielder Forest Rally Round 4 of the MRF Tyres BTRDA Rally Championship, before we hit the tarmac for the Argyle stages as the fight for the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship title continues. All of that to come, but first, it's over to Anglesey. It had been a number of years since we'd seen Carnarvonshire and Anglesey Motor Club at the Trackmorn venue, but they were back, and with the Lucas Oil Menai stages, and fittingly, it had attracted a stellar entry. 71 crews starting today's rally. However, they would be far from that finishing. An unusually high attrition rate throughout the rally, making for an interesting set of results, you could say, by the finish. Number 1 seeded crew Damien Cole and Sean Cunniff would be one of the first to retire. Brake issues on the car would cause them problems from the off, including being unable to stop for some of the junctions. Of course, they'd have to call it a day. Leading from the start then, it would be a cracking event for Malcolm and Rhys Jones. It really suited the Darien, and the pair would stay at the top of the leaderboard throughout the day to take the overall victory. For Bob and Matt Fowden, it would be a puncture ending their rally. They'd started off in 3rd place, but the deflated tyre would cause them to pull over and have to call it a day themselves, so they didn't cause any damage. And as I've alluded to, they wouldn't be the only ones we'd lose. Robbed out and Terry Martin ending the rally early with fuel problems. And for Will Owen and Chloe Thomas, it would be mechanical. Not the way they'd want their local rally to go, but that is this sport sometimes. So with many of the top picks from the entry list falling by the wayside, it would, well, see some different faces on our leaderboard. And for Bertie Morton and Mark Walker, it was a fantastic opportunity to take 2nd place in that Mark II Escort. 3rd would belong to Sean Jones and Cain Williams. The Class B winners take the final step on our podium here. Dave Allmark and David Tortoshell would have some good improvement on their overall seeding to jump up the order and finish with 4th overall. There'd be a close fight going on meanwhile in Class C, which would see Tony Palfrey and Zach Lynham taking victory in the class, as well as ending the event 5th overall in that 205 maxi. They'd have, though, only 3 seconds of a margin in the class by the finish, as Martin Rossiter and Ian Davis end the event with 2nd in class. And if you thought the battle was close for the lead, well, you should see 3rd place. Mai Davies and Dylan Thomas taking that position, only 2 seconds back from Rossiter up ahead. The gap back to Allard Charles and Emir Hall was a little bigger, admittedly. At least in comparison to the class leaders anyway. 21 seconds back was still a pretty close enough fight to that finish. And it continues. A couple of seconds back from them would be the Darien of Russell Davies and Richard Suter, taking 5th place in Class C as well as 9th overall. And rounding out the top 10 would be Richard Morgans and James Martin. The Escort pair still keeping that Darien ahead of them in their sights to the finish. Taking a look at some of our finishers outside of that top 10 leaderboard, it will be 2nd in Class B for Jeff McQuilling and Catherine Jones. Sean Jones up on the podium, taking that class win, of course. And 3rd in that class was Andrew Evans. Neville Balds alongside, 15 seconds back from McQuilling. In Class A, it was the cracking Citroën AX of Gareth Roberts and Harry Stubbs taking the class win. A car we don't see many examples of out on the stages these days. Gary Muir, are you listening? So it was great to see it out and to see it competitive as well. A few positions back on the overall results will be the Corsa of Keith Daniels and Andrew Millington, 21st place overall. And rounding out the top of that class would be this man, Owen Hughes and Chris Phillips in the Micra. This class throwing some variety into the mix this weekend, which is always great to see. So a bit of a dramatic rally here at Anglesey complete. Here's a reminder of how those overall times looked at the end of the day. That Darien victory for Malcolm and Rhys Jones, well deserved and well enjoyed.
Gentlemen, huge congratulations, our rally winners. I mean, you set that from the get-go, didn't you? And you've been on it all day.
Yeah, we've had a good day, to be fair. Really good day. It's been a tough day. Weather's been really, really warm. It was battle to survive us. You know, whoever could survive, really. You can see with the retirement list, I think by the end we were the only car in the top 10 that was left. So, yeah, we've had a good day. I think we won every stage except one. We had a stall and a spin this morning, just on one of the tight hairpins up the top. But we're still learning the car. It's only our third rally in the car. So, yeah, but it's been good. Yeah, it's been good. So we just, this afternoon, we had a good buffer of a lead, and we just coasted around and tried to get to the end more than anything. Yes. So, yeah. So.
Round 4 of the MRF Tyres BTRDA Rally Series would see us back in the north of the UK, this time in Kielder for the Kielder Forest Rally, a long-standing event under various guises over the years, and one that, of course, comes with that killer Kielder reputation. Matthew Hurst and Declan Deer missed this event last year while Dec was getting married. Some things are just more important than rally cars, aren't they? No, you're all shaking your heads, aren't you? So they come to this round without the stage miles under their belts in these forests. It didn't matter, though. They didn't need them. It didn't stop them, as you can see, putting in good times to take the win here at round 4, adding another name to the list of winners so far this season in the BTRDA, buying third overall in the very close fight for the title in 2023. Also well and truly in that fight, with a victory under their belts on the Rally Nut stages, will be Aaron Newby and Jamie Edwards. They were out on their first full campaign of the series this year and showing us what they can do. Second place here in Kielder would secure their second place in the overall standings after 4 rounds. And the driver and co-driver at the top of those standings would be Elliot Payne and Tom Woodburn. 2 victories in the season so far. Not able to make it a hat-trick this weekend, despite a valiant effort. They end the rally 3rd place overall. With only 23 seconds separating our podium place finishers, it will be Alistair Ginley and Craig Thorley waiting patiently behind to see if anything happened up ahead. They would keep within catching distance, but 4th place was what they came away with by the finish. Russ Thompson and Stephen Link, as fast as ever, as sideways as ever, we're still getting the most and more out of that Evo. A fantastic 5th place overall, first in the class, of course. They have a good set of points for the season, are in with a shout of the overall podium positions in the overall championship, and will no doubt be looking forward to extending that mantelpiece for the silverware at the end of 2023. Stephen Petch and Michael Wilkinson would due some more good luck after retiring on their 2 previous gravel events, and we were wishing them it, weren't we? They ended the day with 6th place overall. 21 seconds back, meanwhile, will be Eddie Lewis and Sean Cunniff, taking 7th place by the finish of the rally. Boyd Kershaw and Keegan Rees would reach the finish as the fastest of our 2-wheel drive crews this weekend, and boy, were they fast. The Flying Kiwi was in 8th place overall. A strong result for the pair who, of course, with that, take maximum Silver Star points as well, securing them a decent lead in that category after 4 rounds. Daniel Sigurdsson and Asta Sigurdottir were no stranger to the UK forests, and they were out for a second time this season in that Evo. The Icelandic duo making it to the finish with a 9th place overall position. And rounding out the top 10 here in Kielder will be John Bannister and Richard Wardle in the Subaru. The pair taking 2nd place in the class as well with that result. Fair to say it wasn't good news for everyone on the Kielder Forest Rally, as we lose Rob Wilson and Richard Crozier, the brakes failing on the Evo, forcing them to pull over mid-stage to avoid ending the day in one of those killer Kielder ditches, of course. And after racking up 2 wins already this season, it will be a 2nd place for Robert Goff and Paul Morris this weekend. Sadly not making it 3 from 3, but they were still looking good in the top of the Silver Star standings after this round. And third place of our hard-charging two-wheel drive crews on the leaderboard here at the Kielder Rally would be John Crawford and Hannah McKillop, finishing just 6 seconds back from Goff. After this, our two-wheel drive crews would suffer a string of retirements this weekend. We lose Tim Piercy and Liam Whiteley. They go off on stage 2. They would get the car going again, but retirement would be the way they'd ended their day. And we'd also lose Baz Jordan and Arwell Jenkins, the pair making it as far as stage 3 when they were forced to call it a day themselves. And frustratingly for Andy Davison and Tom Murphy, it will be even less miles under the belt this weekend. The Sunbeam pair retiring before the second stage of the day with mechanical issues on that VXR engined Talbot. So we've seen how the four-wheel drive, the rear-wheel drive crews got on, but how about the front-wheel drive crews? Well, the fastest of those this weekend will be this man, Robert Proudlock and Stephen Brown. Their non-finish last time out means they are 5th in the standings, but it meant that there was a lot of red mist inside that Opel. Not with dropped scores taken into account, of course, but you don't think about those when you're out on the gravel. Nigel and Kaz Jenkins from the fastest family in the Forest of Dean. Sounds like a pop group, doesn't it? Will be the ones to take the Bronze Star honours here at round 4, making it 3 wins out of 4 now. If it hadn't been for the problems on the second round of the championship in Wales, well, it could have been a clean sweep on the board so far by the midpoint of the season. And it was back to winning ways for Lewis Hooper and Rhys Edwards in the rally first car. Not winning the bronze overall, but the category. And of course, finishing ahead of a number of higher powered cars, as we've come to expect now, but no less impressive as a result. One of those higher powered cars was the Rapid Puma of Paddy and Tom Homan, ending the rally 3rd in the Bronze Star results and another 26 points added to their season tally. And before we leave the Kielder Forest, we have a reminder of how those ditches can bite, and oh, do they bite. Alfie Hammond and Phil Boyle rolling the Fiesta out of the event on the very first stage of the day. So with the Kielder Forest Rally complete, here's a reminder of those overall results. From the gravel of northern England to the asphalt of, well, somewhere just a little bit more north. We're going to Argyle now for the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. The Argyle Rally would see the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship come together with the Scottish Rally Championship. So, as you'd imagine, a highly competitive entry would be there waiting at the start of the event in Dunoon ahead of 6 stages on the Friday evening. Treacherous conditions out there on the Scottish roads, and the fastest of our crews making the best of them would be Hugh Brunton and Drew Sturrock, leading after the town centre stages. But that wouldn't last, the pair retiring by rolling out on stage 6. That meant at the end of the day, it would be Callum Black and Jack Morton on top. Their pace in the Asphalt Championship so far this season had been fantastic, and they were hoping to secure more points here this weekend. They were certainly going the right way about it. Second place at the end of the opening day would be a hard-charging David Wright. Paula Swinscoe alongside 11 seconds back from Black after almost 22 minutes of rallying so far. And Neil Roskell and Andrew Roughhead make a good start, ending the day 3rd place, a good position to start day 2 in competitive form. Not much luck heading the way of John Stone and Laura Connell so far this season. We lose them on the opening day. They've been going so well, ending the Dunoon stages in 3rd place overall in the polo. But they crashed that Legend Fires car out on the final stage of the evening. Unfortunately for them and for us, causing too much damage to get back out in that fight. For David Henderson and Chris Lees, it would be 4th place. Their pair were probably a little further back on the results than they'd expected coming here. Don't forget they won the opening round, but they had day 2 to fight back up that leaderboard. Rory Young and Alan Cathers ended the first day in 5th place overall. The pair would sadly for them be the first crew on the results to miss out on stage 6 with a nominal time due to the stoppage. But at least they were through the day and ready to fight again on day 2. On we go then to day 2, and after a fantastic weekend of rallying, it would be victory for Callum Black and Jack Morton. Despite missing out on the first round of the championship, they now lie 2nd place in the standings and actually leading with dropped scores even taken into account. The notable retirements on day 2 would also continue. David Wright and Paula Swinsko retire the Fiesta on the 3rd stage of the day. Not the result they came here looking for as far as their championship was concerned, nor one that it needed. But the campaign wasn't over just yet. So for Neil Roskell and Andrew Ruffhead, he would now be 2nd place overall. Consistency, reliability, good driving and a big splash of pace had really helped them so far this season. It helps them hold on throughout the day to 2nd place as well, picking up those 28 points to add to their total as we cross over into the second half of the season. And rounding out the podium positions will be Rory Young and Alan Cathers. A good result for the pair who finished just 8 seconds back from that Fiesta Rally 2 up ahead of Roskell. It would be class victory and an impressive 4th place overall for Mark McCulloch and Michael Hendry. The times were good and they stayed out of trouble, most importantly, to finish just outside the podium positions. Second in class behind McCulloch will be Michael Binney and Claire Mole, 1 minute back on the overall and class results by the finish. We really enjoyed the variety at the top of our leaderboard this weekend. John Wink and Neil Shanks add a Hyundai into the mix as well, taking 6th place overall and 4th in class, so using it to good effect. William Hill and Richard Crozier, meanwhile, have a good run in the Fiesta to take a 7th place overall finish, and that result also meaning a podium for the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship crew this weekend as well. It will be a close fight, meanwhile, between the leading Pro Tyre two-wheel drive crews this weekend. But in a last-minute switch around, it will be Darren Atkinson and Mark Twynham taking the class victory and first in the Silver Star results in the Escort, ending the event 8th place overall as well. And their pace would be the reason for Brad Cole and Neil Coleman having to settle for 2nd place. They'd gone well all weekend, and there was a difference of only a single second between them and Atkinson at the finish of the rally. Rounding out the top 10 on our leaderboard at the finish will be Kev Proctor with Patrick Walsh alongside, taking 5th place in their class as well. As we've seen so far, the Argyle Rally has claimed its fair share of crews, and there were more to come. This time, it's Orrin McDonnell and Claire Fraser. This off-road excursion wasn't exactly where they would retire, but it did show how tricky these stages were. And as if to prove the point, it was the same place catching out Steve Allman-Smith and Dafford Evans. Losing a handful of time, but they do make it to the finish, with 31st overall, 9th in class. There were a good number of classes, all with healthy entries on this rally, and we can take a look now at how some of those ended up after 2 days of rallying here north of the border, with the Class 1 fight going the way of Innes and Kirsty Mockery. And they took that class win over John and Martin Cressy, who finished just over a minute back in 2nd place. In Class 2, it was victory for Kev Dunn and Sean Douglas. A convincing win as well. A strong lead over the only other crew in the class by the finish, Owen McLeod, Ryan Urquhart. In Class 3, it was victory for Des Campbell and Craig Forsyth in the Peugeot 206. They also finished the event in 23rd place overall with that finish. That victory would be over Tom Howie and Michael McKenzie, who were just over 2 minutes back in the class. Sam Adams and Michael Johnston, meanwhile, managed to end the rally with 34th overall, which would see them take the Class 4 victory. Another impressive performance and victory over Sean Sinclair and Alex Hill on the stages, the pair being another crew to get caught out on that tricky corner on the second morning of the event. Keith Roberthan and Peter Carstairs pedalled that fantastic Vauxhall Forenza to a Class 5 victory. But they only had a margin of around 25 seconds. In fact, they were being chased down all the way by escort pair Graham Muter, Steve Hallmark, who takes second in class and a few places back on the overall results. Class 6 would see the Ford KA of Ian Falcon and Ewan Lees on top by the end of the event. A 20-second advantage in that position over the Clio Sport of Jonathan Stepney and Aled Davies, who also take 42nd place on the leaderboard. And Class 7 would be the battle of the escorts, and it would be battle royale as well. Michael Harbour and Ian McDougall taking the class victory in their example of the Mark II, with Mark Holmes and Mark Perryman getting used to their new car and taking second place in the process. Further down in that class would be Nick Hurd and Oliver Matheson, yet another of our crews to get caught out on the unsighted right-hander on stage 7, losing a handful of time before they could get out. But at least they did get out, which is more than can be said for some, including Alistair MacArthur and Chris Robertson. Their reason for retirement? Well, they ran out of road, obviously. And finally, it would be the Class 9 victory this weekend for Jordan Anderson and Harry Stubbs. 13 seconds of an advantage at the finish over Johnny McKay and Michael Cruikshank in the Evo. So a pretty treacherous and arduous Dunoon Presents Argyle Rally, fitting as a challenge here in the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship comes to a head. And here is a reminder of those overall results as they finished up.
So Callum, well done, you've won the rally. You're the first person this year to win maximum points on 2 occasions. Tell us about your weekend.
Yeah, no, it's a good show actually, I didn't think of it like that. Firstly, really enjoyed the rally, very tricky, especially last night. The long stage in the rain and dark was a real challenge for both Jack and I. But yeah, no, we had a good run last night and that set us up quite well for today. So great to get another maximum points for the Pro Tyre, and yeah, looking forward to the next rally, the Down Rally in a few weeks' time.
In a fitting nod to the Special Stage 2023 season so far, we started this SeaconUK rally show in bright sunshine here in Northumberland, and we're ending it in the rain. We hope you've enjoyed today's show. We'll have more of the action from around the UK with highlights of various rallies and championships in next month's show. And don't forget, we'll have more live action as well on the Special Stage social media channels and on YouTube. We'll see you soon. Thank you for watching.
Care 40 for Rateable Crest Titans.